All right, and welcome to another episode of ARK Survival Ascended here with Darby Topknot on the ARK and Art servers. How's it going? And you can see today we have our little buddy, Benjamin the Otter Architect, and he's here because we wouldn't be able to pull this one off alone. We have a huge build to do today. We're going to build right here on this platform a Victorian apothecary to go along with our Victorian style town. And as you know, it's a fallen civilization, so it will be destroyed. We're going to build something else over there in the next video, but for now we're going to do this, so let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, people, so let's let's go ahead and try this again. This is the second time we're trying to do this. I'll show you what happened in just a sec. But seriously, dude, we're gonna have to go do something about him. You can see that we're hatching wyvern eggs in the background. We've hatched a ton of them. No fighting in my town, dude. But we are here with Benjamin, the Otter Architect. We're gonna be building something really cool this time, I hope. I don't know what it looks like yet, but soon we will. So, yay, go team. We do have the... You're gonna get me killed, bro. You know what? These guys have no respect for camera lines of sight or anything like that. Anyway, the update has dropped, and that's actually what we've been waiting for, the 5.5 thingy. And so we have some new interesting things. So you remember this guy, that little side piece that used to be super high? We now have a smaller one. It'll be interesting. And yes, I know that there are two indicators for Phoenix out there. I thought that you could only have one Phoenix at a time. We just had a superheat and it was right there. So I flew to get it and obviously didn't do it. Then another one showed up, like right next to it. And so there are two out there. We're going to have to do a Phoenix tame soon. I think I might need some help with that. The only time I've done it was on ASE and it was super easy. Yeah, if I tried to go after those guys right now, you guys would figure out why I use Argies to fight wyverns instead of wyverns to fight wyverns. So please ignore that for now. Maybe we'll deal with that at some point in the future. But we have the normal pillars, then little stubby half pillars. Been needing that for so long. The normal skinny pillars and the little ones like that. Then the same for beams. So I'm really interested to see what we'll be able to do. And then this, which we could have used in that build right over there, and frankly, in that build, these little half rails. So I'm super excited to see what we can do with those. But you know what? I'm gonna have to go and get rid of him. Yeah, let's go ahead. We're gonna jump on Trent and go for a ride and kill some raptors. They come up here constantly and chase stuff around. The other thing that have been a problem are the drakelings. Dude, you want to talk about aggressive? Those things attack everything. I don't know if they attack tame creatures yet. I'll probably have to test that. Well, okay. Let's go get them. I'll have to test that out, but we'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so you see that we have this really large platform over here. This is actually for two builds. I decided that because of the delay on getting stuff done, I wanted to use the new little building pieces here, that we would do two things and lay them out, the foundations at least, two at a time. So over here, this one that we're going to do today, this is going to be a Victorian apothecary, right? So that's where people would go to get the good drugs, and it's gonna go out and take up this whole raised platform here. We'll lay out the floor plan first, kind of like we've shown you in the past. I don't know what it's going to be like. It was not easy to line these things up, just, you know, because. And we are using some triangle pieces of the foundation with these other square pieces for foundation. So whenever you mix those, you get some interesting shapes. Let's go ahead and we're going to start laying out some things. The one thing that I do know about it is that I want, let's go through these there, and I'll use these to lay things out again. I want like a patio around the whole thing, and I don't know. Yeah, okay, that'll be fine on that side. And then we just have to decide how deep we want it to be here. I'm thinking 2 is probably good. And so what I usually do to lay things out is do them this way. And okay, that will give us our way in. And then we'll go across here. And we're gonna have to end like that, because no, you know what? We are gonna go on that side. Oh, I'm glad I can jump that far. We're gonna run this all the way to here as a patio. So I'm thinking that this area is, we'll put some shelves and stuff here, and we'll have a counter like right on this area right there. And I'll see, you know, maybe we'll make it kind of like we did in there with the half walls and everything. That seemed to work out pretty well. And then over here, I want to have some more counter space and all that. But let's see. So if we have a divider right there, and then for back here, because we're using those, we kind of have to do it this way. One of these will be to walk through. And then over here, I did this and didn't raise it up because I wanted to have stairs that actually went down into something. So this will be wall. And of course, this will be too. And so we can come into like a back area and then go down some stairs, go into here, and that will be that. Yeah, we'll go that direction. So I want a half wall, and then I want a big wall on top because I'm going to put the skin on with the glass windows, and I think that that'll look cool. And then when we come over here, we can kind of do the opposite on this. Okay, Benjamin, what do you think so far? Really? Benjamin's not impressed. What we're gonna do, I did move this out a bit because I decided that the outside is more important than the inside for this. So, you know, if I think about an apothecary, maybe it's someplace where we have like an overhang and seating out there. So what I did is I moved it back just one more of these, and you can see that these are all triangular over here, and that these go to the squares and then triangular all the way through there. And So it's a mixture of the two, like we said. But let's go ahead and I'm going to try some of these skins and see what we get. And here, yeah, I think that second one, this is what we want from these skins. And I'm going to go like that. And then this one will be like that. And then along here, we're going to have it open. And of course, like everything else, we will paint these in the fullness of time. And then let's see what we've got down here. I think we have just the one option. So we'll pop through. Move these over. Sounds like the guys are saying it's gonna rain soon. And we'll do the bottoms here. And I put that here just to break it up a little bit. But I'm thinking we might paint this a little bit brighter than some of the ones we've done to date. And let's see if we can we turn that off? No, we have to do it this way. Design flaw, by the way. Okay, so see how that's going to be. And I'll have an overhang right along here that comes down and creates a canopy. So there, that lets you see, it makes it kind of an inviting place. And then back there is a little more private because this is, once you go through here, you get to the kind of employees only area. So let's go ahead and I will begin building up this stuff on the outside here and on the inside here, and then we'll see what we need from the standpoint of a way to get up and all of that. This would be some type of storage room, I would imagine, but maybe we have the stairs going to this second level up there coming from there. Okay, so here's what it looks like standing next to that shelf, the little desk that's between you and the guys. I'm looking at the top here, I'm thinking the ones with it going from me out to the customer side look better than those long ones. So I'm not sure what you guys think, but I'm gonna switch them all to be that direction. And yeah, I'm going to build this kind of like it's supposed to be, and then put in some things later on that will make it look like it was destroyed and all of that, kind of like we did with the other places. But yeah, so we're gonna go, and I am gonna build those walls over there completely out of the quarter walls. So I'm gonna do that, then I'll put the shelves up, and we'll be right back. All right, so we've done a little bit of work. Let's go ahead and just check in and see, after all the rain and stuff, where exactly we are. Benjamin, how do you think it's going? Yeah, too slow? Yep, that's why you're here, bro. Okay, so check it out. We're going to be going in this way. And one thing I wanted to show you is the back. And you see these pieces right here with the foundation. I'm trying to decide right now if I want to put another quarter wall there and make those look like this down to the bottom. And obviously I'm going to be changing that Adobe with the skin. So I'm trying to decide whether I do that or if I let that just exist the way it does. I'm leaning towards putting that cladding on the outside like we talked about earlier. But you can see this out here is going to be a porch. I'm going to cover it, and we just need to decide whether we go up another half or not. I'm thinking that we will, and then use a straight part and then a ramp to give us something coming down a bit. Then we'll use some scaffolding in places, and I'll have to decide whether we do it like every two or if we just do it on the ends of where they connect, right? So if we just like do it up there to be a support and stuff. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to put railing around this, and the railing is where I'm going to start making it certain parts look broken and all that. And if you remember what we did over on these guys here, the broken pieces didn't really start looking weathered and everything until we started painting. And I expect the same to be true here. We're going to put up some railing here as well. And I'll probably break some of it too. But if we come in, you can see that there's a nice little flow into here now. And it's always funny to me because if you take a look at Darby, I mean, he's more than tall enough to be looking at this, like the second quarter level of this, and it always looks, your point of view is always as if you're like halfway, like if you're simply there, right? Instead of being up there. I wish honestly they would fix that, because it would make the walkthroughs look a lot better, right? And you wouldn't have to do them like this. But anyway, enough complaining. We've made these cabinets here. And you can see that all we did is we have the quarter walls, and so we're able to put these coming out. They're ceilings, like the quarter ceilings, which is on the triangle one as well. And we're able to put those because that is the top of that quarter piece. And so I did those over to here. And since this turns, I didn't want to try to connect these because it wouldn't do it at a good angle. So you see how that's off a bit. So I just let them be separate. And then I did the same thing back here. But since we decided to go with the quarter pieces all the way up, I was able to make a second level as well. And this has actually given me an idea of how to do this roof. So we'll look at that. Then we have over here. Oh, and I used these little thin beams. Not beams, thin pillars to create the ends for those. So at least they look like they go to something. I may put them across there as well, at least at the top, just to kind of cap it off. Or maybe we can use the half ones there. Oh, that's a good idea. We're going to try the half ones across these sides so that it looks like it's connected by something. Because if you look at this, you see how that just looks like it's sitting there? We talked about that in a previous video as well, the one where we talked about rails and everything, rails and painting. That just looks like it is on there, and so it looks a little bit jank to me. We'll fix that. I think that having the little half beams that we have now go back like that will make that look a lot better. Over here, pretty simple. We just did the quarter walls all the way around. We turned it so that what would normally be the outside, although we rarely use it as the outside around here, you can tell that we did everything backwards on that building. is on the inside so that we get these interesting... Something fighting? Hey, what's up, bro? Where's your mom? Oh, there. Okay, so that's what's going on. So we get these interesting textures and everything. So it's not just a bunch of internal pieces that look like this. I mean, that... Why would you have slats on that? So we can hide them by putting them on the inside. And you see, I didn't feel that I needed any type of stuff here to hold that up because it's not going to be seen. But also, I'm going to be putting stuff underneath here when we start to wreck this place. Then behind, the other question that we had was, do we make these backwards? Right, so do we put the big piece on the bottom and the little piece on the top? And I have decided we will do that because then we can have along that top a shelf. And so I'll show you how that works out in just a minute. This back here, this is going to be a wall with the door that goes down. And I haven't decided if we're going to keep this like this for now. I might put some chairs or something here or some storage of some sort just to make that more interesting. And looks like we need to fill that in. We need to take a look at the top and decide where the second story goes. Which part of this shape needs the second story. So let's go ahead and we'll kind of fly up here real quick and take a look. So if you look from here, I mean, is it just that square back there? I don't think so. I think it needs to be more than that. Maybe it comes out to where the cabinet is here. So maybe along this line. But yeah, you know what? I think that might be it. I think it might be along these where that indent is over there. So right along there. And we'll put some arrows on the thing. And then along here on the front. And then obviously ending with this over here. And that will let us do interesting stuff for the lower set of roofs and then the higher one, where we can have something that's a little more interesting from the outside. Okay, so I have laid that out. I actually just made a decision that I'm going to make a little bit of a change to this. Let me go up and show you. There have been so many sandstorms. Usually it's raining like crazy right here, which is hilarious for the desert, but not this time. Oh, red drop with a ring. So I've laid it out like this, and if you take a look, you can see one of the things I did was I put a line of the four. I'm gonna have to kill him. I put a line of the four quarter walls, and then put the normal wall and the window skin in between, like a box and all that. Let me go get this guy real quick. But I remembered one of the things that we talked about early on with the Victorian builds, and that was that they all seem to have these bubbles out from them, right? Where they have like some type of bay window or something of that sort, even though they're probably not bay windows, but you know what I mean. You can see it there. Even that little guy right there. This doesn't have it, which makes it look more Western in nature. So I don't want that. And it won't look that way when we paint it anyway. But what I want to do, I think it's at about the right height. What I want to do is bring it out here. So I'm going to put some arrows on the thing. I'm going to bring this part out from this side on the right and this side on the left and make a kind of octagon or a hexagon or something out of it that hangs over this part right here, with that being part of the canopy. And I think that'll look really cool, because if we come out straight from there like that, then it can fall off, right? And it will give us a place with a door that actually comes out here, and it will give us a more interesting shape. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Okay, everybody. So check it out. Let me start down here. So this area, you go in, and one of the things I did, I obviously did the floors, and I put these stairs in, and I just followed the same pattern here, but opposite, because I needed this, and put this in place. So it followed that. So we have a little door. We'll decide if we're going to actually put a door on it later on. The other thing I did is I put a rail on this side, and I put a rail underneath. And the reason I did that is it's going to help make this look like it's been fixed. So without this, it just goes up, and there's this nice little clean-cut place there. When I put the rail in, it's at a slightly different angle, right? If you look at the bottoms here. And so that one goes there. That's the normal stairs. And then the rail goes at a little bit of a different angle. So it looks like it's been repaired. And so I'm just putting little details like that in. Seems like it wouldn't matter much. It might not matter much, but it's something that I'll know is there, and, you know, makes it look a little bit cooler to me. So then we have these places up here, and we close that in, and this is what I meant when I said building off. So we have like a normal room, right? Then we have a solid piece there and a solid piece there, so that we can have something else. And I went and made these angles in, because this, and I have to fill in that with some glass. I made this open like that. So very similar to what I did, for instance, over there on that side. And it will look less Western when we actually paint it. Promise. These are beams that I put in on the floor, and I did it for the inside because it makes it look more finished, but also for the outside, and you'll see that in just a sec. But I used greenhouse pieces up here, just those sloped ceilings, and used them all the way around, and then used those to give me the structural bearing I needed for this piece right there. So that's the way I connected those. If we go out here, this is where there's going to be a place to go outside, obviously. And I think that I will cut it off with rails and have the rails go around like that. And so you'll have a place to hang out at least to right here. Let's go ahead and look down here. If you look at the inside, you can see there this is symmetrical, but it's not symmetrical with this down here. And that's kind of on purpose, just to make it look different. So here, the idea is that you would have a place that would have been for under here to sit down and chill out. And that is to help with the sun, obviously, but it gives you a nice place out here. I used large pillars on the inside because that's a structural piece, and this is more decoration, and I will probably put a railing around there. And like I said, I might put cladding, I might not. What I'm trying to decide right now is I kind of like the way that comes down, and I did alternate this up, down, up, right? So by hitting the E button, I was able to flip that center one. So the roof at the top is going to be the piece that's going to have to pull it together. It's going to have to make all of these disparate pieces look like they make sense. And so I'm going to try doing our layering techniques and all of that to make it make more sense, and to make it kind of blend into these over here a little bit more as well with that type of shingled roofing. But if you look over here, off of this part, we used another one of the new pieces, and that's that little short slanty wall there, right? And so that is the short one rather than the normal big one. And I was trying to figure out what to do with this. It was flat, and I'm like, okay, well, inside it looks okay flat, but outside it just looks, whoa, jumping around. It looked kind of boring, so I put that under there knowing that this is going to be underneath another set of shingles and all that. And I just brought it around the corner like that. Okay, people, so we've done some work. However, in the meantime, a little problem has come up. You notice we're on our Giga. There's a reason for that. One of the problems about living here is, well, I'll show you in a minute. You can't quite see it down there. It's a little out of range. But if you notice, we have a big open plain where just about anything can get. We usually only get... ooh, party dodo. We usually only get raptors. But there is one other thing that tends to make its way up here. And if it gets attacked by something or starts a fight, I would hate to think about what it would do to our builds. But hey, there's the build right there. Just chilling. So this is how we have to take care of him. And you'll notice he will do a little bit of damage to us, but they're not exactly the smartest fighters, and he will take off after a minute. Okay, so now he's going to start taking off. Because Titanosaurs are cowards. Don't tell him I said that, though. And now we just want to try to do the rest of this without hurting anybody else if at all possible. 'Cause I don't want to fight the whole map. Oh, I know. Here we go. He should drop any moment now. There's no glory in this fight, but there's an Anki. It's something we have to do to protect our base, unfortunately. I'm just afraid of him getting attacked by something and then swinging his tail. That's all it's about. So, there we go. And that's how they do it in the big city. Okay, people. So Benjamin convinced me to do it this way. We're gonna stay straight right here, and then we will have the slant off of here, and we used a little side piece there. I think that's like it's one of the ramp things, just like these, but we just fit it in there, and I think that will be good enough, because what we're gonna do is we're going to use these to create barriers. And did that line up? I don't think it did it? Did you twist? Is that a thing? Let's try this again. I guess that's just how it is. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're gonna put this skin on them. There we go. And we will do that. And then I will pop out into K mode so you can see. So you see how this comes across, and we just use that little slanty piece there. Hey, what's up, bro? To carry on that part, and then here we have it all boxed in by these beams, the big ones, right? And it'll look cool when we paint those. And so I'm going to put some railing up here, I believe, just to keep people on the terrace, and you know, we'll look at it as that. But you know, as you know, we won't have terracey stuff up here. We're probably going to put some junk up here, boxes and stuff like that, because this is a fallen civilization once again. But if you notice, we went all around the edge there with the beams, and that gives you a couple things. It gives you that extra layer of depth, right? From the wall that you see right there out to the edge of the beam. So it just circles that up for you, and it makes it look a little bit more interesting, instead of, like, if you know in Minecraft how all walls are flat, right? And then everybody started not doing flat walls and all that. This is just an extension of that. Okay, guys, so here's where we are. We're hanging out with Love. We have... Benjamin, are you sleeping? You were sleeping, weren't you? Come on, man. Okay, everybody. So what I've done is I went out a quarter, right? So a half is what it really is. But I used these quarter things to do that coming out. And then I did a little set of the triangle ceilings to make it go that way. And now I I kind of have to justify this being there. And I'll show you the other part of this is I made it down one, and I'll show you why I did that. So let's see. Let's go with this way. So these ramps I'm going to put across, and what that does is it makes it look like this needed some type of structural support. Trust me, that'll look that'll look good once we get there. I'm going to actually put these on it right now. And then we're going to go up to the top, and I'll show you what I did up there. I put it down a half because it's like, okay, well, this is really, really squat, and I wanted to add another layer onto this, so it's down here instead. I'm going to make little stairs coming out so that he can come down here, and then I'm going to put something around the side here. It might be a rail, it might be actual little half walls or something. These are not the right direction. Why did they do this? Just wondering. Okay, so there was no way to fix it. That's fine. Where I was talking about having variety anyway. So what I'm going to do is put these guys here like this. Then we'll swap those out to these. And then this will let him go down and out of there easily. And I might close that up since we have the piece to do it now. I might not. But let's go ahead and take a look and see what this looks like. So now you see that we have more layers in there, and so it doesn't look as boring. I was like, okay, well, I know I'm going to make a mess back here, and I want it to look kind of broken down and stuff, so I started taking rails and putting them at weird angles. If you guys remember from the thing we did on rails, you basically have unlimited ways you can put them. So when you're using rails, go around and just start hitting on the PC version, start hitting Q, and you can get some pretty cool things, and you can actually put them together to make patterns and stuff. We have a whole video on that, but I started doing so because I'm like, okay, well, I want this to look like somebody had to reinforce it. So if you notice, there are some things kind of at off angles here. That's actually 3 rails, and you know what, I can probably show you like that. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3, right? So going into the ground, I thought that was good because somebody buried it to make it better, right? Here you'll notice that these aren't at the same angle, so it looks a little bit weird. Then I have one coming off here, and it's actually coming off of this pillar and going up into there, and hopefully that doesn't show up inside. I'm gonna continue, and I think what we'll do is we will finish this out, and we will do all of the details. We will then begin painting, and I don't think I'm gonna bother you guys with the painting. Yeah, you can see Benjamin's looking away. Yeah, that's right. Painting takes so long. I hate it, but it's the best thing you could do for your builds is to paint. So I'm gonna get the details done, go back to the island, get my paints, and then we'll see what happens. All right, everybody. So we have had some time pass once again, and we have painted, I think, the whole place. Sometimes with these big builds, it's hard to know whether or not everything's painted. And so, yeah. Benjamin, what are your thoughts off the bat? Yep. I know it took a long time. It took way longer than it should have. I'm going to have to figure out a better way to paint so that it doesn't take me quite so long. But it is done. So let's go ahead and see what we've got here. We have our guys keeping guard, and this guy over there, bro, you might be joining the team. But anyway, we went with a slightly brighter color than everything else, and that was because, people live there, like that's like normal housing, and then this one is supposed to be a little bit grander, but you know, obviously this is all decayed. And then the shop, which this apothecary is, it could be any type of shop actually, it doesn't have to be that, but I'm thinking apothecary. We wanted it a little bit lighter, and so this color was suggested to me, and I think it works out just right. I think it's crystal. I think that's the color's name. But you can see that I didn't use it as much as I did the red over here, so the accents and everything. I tried that and just decided to go a little bit more muted because it was really overpowering, this green color. So we put it inside there instead of on these outside things like we did the red over there. But anyway, I have some lights that we've put up out here, and you know, we're going to continue that going over there. We do have power here now. I set up a temporary generator out here while I was building, but we have a generator in that building over there, so I have it pumped up right now. This place drains electricity like you wouldn't believe, but the idea is that you walk up here and we have this external piece that is like a little walking patio, and you know, railed in, of course. You can see that we use these bigger pieces here for support, and then underneath I put the rails upside down, coming down, and what that does is a couple things. It makes it look better, so there's a little bit of texture and design there, but also it lets me put that green teal color in there as well, right? And so that breaks up the monotony of the brown. And we decided with this kind of mid brown, I think it's tan is the color we're using here, and the reason I did that is the darker ones made it look really, really cartoony. And so I did just a little bit of testing to see what those should be. I decided to go with 2 different colors of brown just to put the tone in there, and to make it look like this was supposed to be brighter originally. But as you can see, we have that going on. The first level, I have those thick beams going across, and you know, once again, that just helps you put more depth into the build, right? And I think we've discussed that I put, you know, some things out here where that doesn't necessarily go there, but I just wanted it to look like somebody had fixed some stuff. So I have this rail going down that way as well, and it just puts some imperfection there. And I find that makes it a lot more interesting. We are going to make this template, the build template, and we'll go through how we do that, available on the ARK and Art Discord server. So, you know, if you want to go in and get it, that would be amazing. I'd love to see if you guys use these things. But, you know, going through as you're building, if you want to take out some of the broken stuff that I put in here on purpose, I totally understand. But we have this canopy coming over, right? And this place out here that would have been someplace somebody could sit. And if you remember, we're going to have the church there, which is basically going to be our big workshop. And so they would have been able to hang out here on an afternoon or something with everybody else. And I think this will look cool once we get the pub put in over there. But under here, I did, you know, different types of brown coloring, the darker on top. And so that creates the impression of different types of wood, but it also creates the shadows that we're seeing, right? So if you look at stuff from out here, it just looks a little bit better than it would if it was all just pasted with one color. And on the outsides, any place there was a corner, I did put a pillar, and I used some of these small ones, and then over on this side, I used the bigger ones. And the bigger ones are supposed to look more structural. The smaller ones are supposed to look like they're just supportive, if that makes sense. And so I finished that side off with this. Since this is supposed to, you know, follow the same kind of design patterns we used over here with all this stuff out front, we did the same thing here. And so I had built this railing to look like somebody put it in after the fact so that it could, you know, fix something that was going wrong. And that's the reason I don't actually mind that side beam from the stairs that are inside is there. But I gummed up the sides here and put that there. I actually took a coffin and put it there because it just looks like an open container of some sort. And I just thought that that would play things off, especially as we build out more of this place. I brought the overhangs, the little quarter roofs there, all the way across to there and stopped. And I did that because it looked weird when I didn't have it going all the way around. And that was a good place for me to be able to end it without having to put it out here and then figure out, oh, well, then I have to go all the way around the side and all of that stuff. So it gave me a natural stopping point. So when you're doing your builds, take a look at that stuff too. And if you have to add in little designs there to make it a bit more interesting or to make it not a flat surface, right? So, I'll do anything I can think of to break things up, like these beams here, literally just to not have a flat wall. Same thing up there. Take a look at those different things because we have these little tiny pieces now that we can use for that type of stuff, and I found it really helpful in this. Up at the top, I did put railing coming down from the roof, and that's something that when you have overhangs, the railing, like I said, looks good, and it lets me create something that encapsulates the bottom and the top, and so it kind of feels like you're caging stuff in there, which is exactly what we want. The tops here, I think I've talked about where I laid it over, and so I just painted that with the 2 different shades of brown, and I think that works. I like the slanting going up to this piece here, which, I was thinking initially it would look pretty terrible because it doesn't really fit together, but it ended up working out okay. So let's go ahead and take a look. I just hung a blank sign there because I wanted something, man, if this could be a broken chain and half hanging down, I would do that, but I didn't want to put a name on there because it looks way too bright on these. Anyway, we go in the front, and you can see that I've painted in here as well. The floor is of the darker color, and then I used the same color from outside to lace things here. This color on the walls here is cornflower, I believe, and I used it because it looks run down, but it's also in the same type of color as the outside here, so it's in the same family, but it looks washed out and not as in your face, and I thought that would be a good thing. If we look over here, you can see that on the shelves and everything we built, that I've just taken tons of storage and thrown it up there. There are some bottles here as well. This, like I said, is a fallen city, and so this is intended to look like people have just been stuffing things in here, and maybe they're good supplies, maybe they're not, but I wanted it to look like it was it was a situation where supplies have become important, but also stuff is neglected. I have a couple of these. Lighting is actually a problem in here. These lights are so soft that they don't really light it up very well at all, right? These rooms. And so you have to end up putting a lot more of them. But one of the things I wanted to talk about is I've found that when you're looking into a space, having too many lights visible at the same time is really distracting and just detracts from your design. And so I tried to make it, these up here are kind of exempted from the rule, but I kind of tried to make it so that you could only see 2 from any given angle. So if you see here, you see those 2, you see those 2. There's one that I have hiding over here, so you can see those 2. Then if you come around, I have that one there, and so you can see those 2. And the reason I did that is I found that as soon as you hit 3, it looks bad. And I needed this one here to cast light on this side so that you could actually see it. Or this just becomes a super dark place and I wouldn't be able to show you guys, right? So actually, let me show you. Even during the day, turning off just that one really has an effect, right? So lighting is important. Back here, you saw how we built these. These are just standing up like that. I found that to be a good way. I wanted to make it look like people maybe come and hang out over here but don't clean up after themselves, so these little bottles were cool. And I just painted these deeper colors of brown, and the same with that, so that they would stand out. And so here, this is where we start going down into storage, and I wanted to make this a storage room. I initially thought I would just make this all messed up, but then I'm like, okay, well, that's not going to be, it might be cool for my uses, but it's not going to really help anybody else out. So I just made it kind of normal. And if you notice, we have the 2 lights. I used to have another one that was visible there, but like I said, it just made it look weird. I had one over in that corner. And so I have 2 back here and 2 over there. And it lets me have enough light in this room for it to look cool, but not look weird. So, and that's actually why I didn't have one on this side, because I got enough light, and that's probably the only view that you'll see 3 here, but it's okay because the other one's in the other room. Some storage over here that I'll probably never use, but just something to have some type of use for this room. But I did want something that I did want something where we went down into storage. I thought that that'd be cool. So that was, you know, how I always tell you guys that I just kind of have a little idea and then I start building. That was literally one of the 2 ideas that I had for this. That being one, the other one being the overhang on the outside. That's all I had in mind before I started building this. And so, you know, I think this works. Hopefully it won't make it too much of a pain for people that want to use the template, or if I want to use the template someplace else. Now we come up into a room, much like the big house over there, where people can hang out and everything. And it looks like it didn't keep the paintings loaded in. And I find that happens in this game where paintings just disappear off of walls. And fix your game, ARK. But coming up here, there are different areas where people can hang out and everything. We have this sunroom over here. I just decorated it in the same way, had some tables, have, you know, these chairs where people can be looking out once again. And I made these little tables, like usual, just out of the benches. And if you move them close enough together, then they work for the height of these chairs and everything. Otherwise, they're super tall. They're like this tall, and it just doesn't look good. But let's see, other details. Up here, I did the same type of color, except on the bottom, I have this kind of violet color down, or the purpley at the bottom. And I wanted to try kind of a two-tone paint job. And so that's what I did, is I have that down there and going up on these sides here. And then the rest is this cornflower color. And I thought it looked pretty good, because otherwise it was just making the room really monotonous. And so you notice it also creates a line, kind of a natural line, where the people are and then where stuff is above. One of the other things is hanging these lights. I didn't want them all the way up there, so I just used pillars coming down, and then had to try to line up the hanging point there. So turn off snapping, because it won't snap the way you think it will, and just work on that. And so I think I had to do this twice and try to get that little point where you hang from in the center. Outside, we go out onto the terrace here, and let's go ahead and take a look. And you'll see, I was thinking maybe I would put a bunch of stuff out here and all that, but then, you know, it didn't really add to the build, so I just kind of wanted to keep it like this. And that's a magnificent rabbit. Don't go inside, bro. This piece follows the shape out here, but on this side over here, it doesn't follow the same shape. It goes in, and so it creates, once again, different layers and different levels. So we're once again working with levels and layers to make our builds more interesting. People often, you know, say, oh, I don't know how to build, and I just build boxes and all that. And the easiest way not to build a box is just to draw a different shape with your foundations. And then when you go up to your second floor, draw a slightly different shape than that one. And you'll be amazed at how easy it is for you to kind of get past that. What I think would probably be a mental block, because people are super creative, just have to let yourself be. But I decided to put this table out here. Once again, I just push these guys together, put the benches out, and pretty standard stuff. You can see up here, it was a real pain to paint because I had to paint the stuff under there too. But we have these supports coming out, and that just makes it more interesting once again. And thank you, Wildcard, for putting in these half rails. Amazing. It helps so much. I was having to cheese all that stuff before, and now it's just a piece we have. So go team. So coming into here, you'll notice we go up one more level, and I guess I should show this outside piece. So what I did here is when I make stairs, of course you want to block them off so that people don't just fall down them, right? It doesn't matter to your ARK character, but in real life it would, right? You don't want to fall down stairs. So I decided to, rather than just putting rails up, to put the quarter walls and then rails on top of that. And then, of course, if you put something like that in, you need to put pillars, not for any support reason, but so it looks like support. Okay, so going up here, we have the same thing. We have the quarter walls at the bottom, and then I have these big support beams, the pillars right there, and I put the rails on top, but I took them all the way to the top. but I decided not to color these small little spokes in here because I wanted, you know, like I did on here, I wanted it to just blend in and look like it's just part of the structure, right, instead. And obviously on this side it's a little bit different. I, you know, thought about closing that in, but then I'm like, no, there's no reason really. And it actually let me hide another light. So if you notice in here, 2, that one doesn't count. There's one hiding back there. There's one over here. There's one there. If you move back far enough, you can get 3 in the in the thing, but I needed this to light this up. So lighting with these, I wish I could make it a little bit brighter without having the bloom come out of it. Going up, you see I put this here, otherwise this was like a dark tunnel, and I didn't need to block that off. I did block it off all the way up there though, and I only went down 2 because it wouldn't let me put a third one down. The way I would have had to do the third one was take out the stairs, put the third one, then put the stairs back, but I had already painted everything, and so I didn't want to do that. So I thought 2, yeah, that's fine. No one's gonna mind that little piece there. So then I have the beams going across once again, just for, you know, structural support. And this goes up into a little bedroom. And okay, this painting stayed. That's cool. You can see there's a little bit of storage there. I made it look like dude keeps stuff up here too, you know, just storage boxes and all of that to make the room a little more interesting. And this is actually the roof, and I thought about, once again, hey, do I close that in? But no, it would have made it feel very stuffy, and this makes things look a little bit more ramshackle, but it also makes it look more interesting. And you can see that looking down here, we have beams going across all the way there as well. And that's just for closing off the shelves and stuff that we have coming across there. So it just looked better that way. Otherwise, there were these little thin pieces there, and then these would have come up and either ended right there, which looks weird, and we wanted to cap off these walls here. So we needed that, and not having something on the top just looked unfinished. His little bed is right there as well. Thanks again to Dump for the fan art. Amazing. You rule. And then he has his little place to come out here and look around. And I can actually jump out onto the house. It works really well. Super helpful while I was painting. But I wanted, once again, not to just go straight out into a balcony. I wanted to make a balcony on a different level. So I made it come down. And once again, that's going right back to what we always talk about, having different levels in your builds. And so if you take a look, you can see that we're up here. These quarter roofs are amazing. They really, really help with making the overhangs and stuff. And I don't mind that I have that little spot there open. It makes it look, you know, a little bit dustier, a little bit dirtier. Really straightforward as far as the building techniques and all that stuff. I think it's an interesting place. I think you could use it for lots of stuff. With the high ceilings and everything, you can definitely have more going on here than just what I've put in place. I don't think the templates take the interior decoration. So like these storage things, I don't think it'll put those in there. But let's go ahead, and I want to talk about one other thing before we look at how we do the templates. So stairs is a big thing. When I think of building things, stairs are important, and the flow of traffic through. So if you notice, we come down here, we turn to the right, and we come down, and we come up. And that's not by accident. When you build stairs, a piece of advice I'll give you is to have the different sets of stairs flow into each other to make it easy to get wherever you're going. So that's why I did this way, right? So that it doesn't flow directly into those, but it, you know, is just around the corner and they flow in the same angle. And this flows straight up into that. So just a little detail that maybe will help you going forward. All right, so now that we're done, Benjamin is gonna try to walk me through using this hammer. I know, you don't have to say it. Okay, so we're gonna get this done one way or another, and we'll make this available for you. So I'm gonna put a link to the ARK and Art Discord, and I think that's where we're gonna post these things. So you'll be able to go up there, and we'll make a channel in there that you can go to and download these. And I'll actually, yeah, I promise I will upload the other ones as well, including the irritating aviary that everybody wants to know how to build, and I can't really explain it that well. So you'll be able to have that as well. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at how this tool works. So let's see, that's template tool, that's create mode. Then we have click to select template, okay, and then build mode. Okay, cool. So we obviously want create mode, and select all, press Q. Select single. Okay, so we want to select all. Oh, sweet, look at that. And it goes, it's grabbing. Seriously, bro? Thank you. This is actually a really cool way to look at it. It's grabbing everything, yep, and it doesn't go too far over here. Cool. So if we go up and look at all of this, oh, very, very cool. Neat, okay. So it looks like we're getting everything. Let's just run up to the top to make sure. And it says here 999 out of 2,000. So apparently this has 999 pieces that I used, not including all of the lights and decorations and stuff. I know I made way over 50 little storage boxes for this, which is ridiculous, and explains a lot about the lag that my bases have. Okay, so I messed around a little bit with this. It looks like here in this mode we've been in, you're adding the structures and everything that you want to have in there. You can add additional ones, like I could grab that one too if I wanted to and all that, but I'll leave all that to you guys like we said. But then you hit R and it goes to the save mode. And so under save mode, we'll do Victorian Apothecary and how's it going? And here it tells all the contents. Wow, okay, this is good. Template saved. Sweet. Okay, let's go out and see if we can just get this into a build mode. One of the cool things is this is all built out of Adobe, right? And then I just put the Bob skins on it. You don't have to build it out of the same thing I did. If it will use whatever type of building material you have. So if you want to build it just out of wood, you can do that. If you want to make it out of that, you can do that. Metal, tech, whatever. It will just use whatever's in your inventory. Okay, cool. So we can go in here, select template, and oh wow, look at that. Can we zoom out at all? Let's see, does it show it? Yeah, look at that. It shows all the different pieces there, and it looks like it's not as persnickety as I thought it would be. I was worried about the drop into that bottom piece, that would make it not work, but it looks like it works okay. So then, yep, we can go ahead and scoot it around, and now it's there. And I'm definitely not gonna build this. I'm gonna get rid of this, but there you go. All right, so that was a very fun build to do. It did take a long time, but and I did figure out how to get rid of that template over there. I'm going to recreate the template and take out those foundations, and we'll get it up there for you. Like I said, I'll leave a link to the ARK Discord in the description so that you guys can click that, hop over there and grab that and other templates that I'm going to be putting up there, including some from the island and all of that. The next episode, I think we're going to be going back to Astrios on the hierarchy servers to do a massive build that's more Greek styled, and I have an interesting idea for it. I think it will be yes Benjamin, I know we'll try to take you over there to help out. I know I can't do it on my own. But we'll be putting that together, and so that should be cool. Then we'll come back over here, we'll finish out the pub that we're putting in there, and then I think that maybe off screen I'll build all the rest of the little buildings. We'll see how that goes, and then it's going to be the railroad, and that should be really interesting. It's going to go all the way across this map. We're going to go over to CD's base on that side, but in the meantime, thank you guys so much for joining us. I really appreciate it when you guys show up and all the support you give us. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment, and hey, what's up, bro? Why do they do whirlwinds here? Anyway, thank you guys so much. This is Darby Topknot from the ARK server saying bye for now.